Welcome back. I'm Abby Hagyard. I'm laughing because I just saw I just saw something on social media that took me right back to my childhood. It's very funny. So before I tell you that, I think we should just say hello to each other. I'm going to have a little sip of this magic beverage. So I hit the post. I'm a military kid, and the post was driving through the gates of the military base alone in your officer father's car, and the guards at the gate salute you. I thought, oh, yeah, that kind of takes me back. And you drove on thinking la di da, and then as one of the comments was, they were saluting the sticker on the windshield, not you. So good morning, everybody. I just got a bit of a, how first thing in the morning it's almost like the dust settles around you and you feel the need to sneeze or something. So I have a very, I think, important, interesting, what was I thinking video today. And I'm excited to talk to you about it. So before I get started, for the people who are just joining for the first time, I want to thank you very much for taking the time. I want to thank you for saying to yourself, well, I've been meaning to do this. Well, good morning. Good morning, Miss Susan. I'm going to pick this thing. And the reason I'm doing these videos, I had a career in show business after I had a career in being a military kid. And then I put my showbiz career on hold for a bit to go away and rethink the roots of entertainment, which is storytelling. And I got involved in writing a lot of things for a lot of people. And it was a very, very smart kind of go back to your roots and remember where you came from. And so that was huge. And I was invested and involved in writing other people's things or shaping other people's things or curating other people's things for almost 15 years. And I loved it, except that I also missed this part. I also missed the conversations. I missed the live audiences. I missed the workshops. I missed the live interaction, or at least very close to the live interaction, the virtual live interaction. And in that transition, I realized that I had an opportunity to talk about something that kind of blindsided all of us 4 years ago, when at almost this exact time, we were suddenly aware that our normal, so-called, had shifted dramatically with the arrival of some kind of airborne, breath-borne virus. And it was, we didn't know what to do. And all the things that used to be right weren't. And very scary. It feels like being in a little boat and suddenly you realize that your rudder is missing and you don't know what to do, and some of the waves are tough. And I thought, well, ironically, military kids, we're not born knowing how to reset. We are, however, taught, and we do it. Just trying to get myself settled here. And we do it as a form of not only survival, but thrival. You have to be able to see another way to your destination. If this is blocked and that's blocked and that's blocked, there's got to be an over, under, around, or through. And it becomes second nature. And this is what occurred to me a couple of years ago, was that this second nature thing that I do, and then I made a career of doing, is not something that we are normally aware of. And if you don't know you've got a thing, if you don't know you're sitting on a treasure, if you don't know that it's right behind you, there she is. If you don't know it, you can easily be forgiven for not reaching for it. You can easily be forgiven for saying, I don't know who I'm going to be and how I'm going to be. You need somebody to come along and say, do you want me to show you? Let me show you where it is. Shh, it's here. And so that's what I've started to do. And I've called the project Pivotry in Motion, because a pivot is physical. Pivot is, I'm here and now I'm here. Before you can do that, before you can see that, before you can choose that, you have to be ready and here. You have to realize that there are options for you. and that you have actually used them before, and that you are actually good at it many, many times before. And that's the work I'm doing. What I'm explaining to people, because I've been writing so many things for people, I'm explaining that we need to take a fresh look at the story you're living your life by, at the instruction book you're using, because Windows has had an update. You're looking through the wrong window at your life, at your world, at your opportunities. And this is not a motivational concept. This is not do more, be more. This is, you already are the more. You got all of it. What we need to do is show you where it is and show you how to choose it and show you how to make it yours to own. It's very exciting when all of a sudden the penny drops. Very exciting. People say, well, that was ridiculously simple. I know. Yeah, the reason things are complicated is us. So what my goal is today is to talk to you about this thing I wrote the other day about choice. We have choice. We have opportunity to seize the power inside the change. So why don't we do it? And the answer, oddly enough, is that we're overwhelmed. We're overwhelmed, we're exhausted, and we don't know it. It's a thing. It's a medical scientific thing called high functioning freeze. You know how freeze, hide, fight, flee? So when you are pushing, 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 or screaming, 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 or running, 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 at some point you run out of juice, you run out of steam, you run out of oomph, and you still have to get up in the morning and you still have to do that thing you do. Well, good morning, Freddie. Wonderful to see you. No matter how tired you are, things are still expected of you because you bought in. You said, yeah, I'm in this tribe and I'm in this tribe and I wear that hat and this one and not the one over here. I don't like wearing that one. It makes me look like I have large ears, but I'm wearing it anyway. We don't give ourselves permission to go through neutral as we switch gears. We think, because no one has told us otherwise, that we should be able to do all of this simultaneously. And you can't. People say, I can juggle many things. Yeah, but when you watch somebody juggling and you slow the video down, they're actually only holding one thing at a time. Right? They're only throwing and catching one thing at a time. It's just that there are 5 or 6 or 8 things, and some of them are flaming chainsaws. And so what we're fixated on is the number of things and how fast they move. We're not actually watching us doing the move. We're not actually seeing the process unless we slow the video down and we focus on the point, which is not the chainsaws. It's us. It's all about us, isn't it? I mean, we weren't born to juggle chainsaws. We were born and we decided to take up juggling chainsaws, but it's still us. There's a very, very old, great kind of a reset statement that I really fell in love with. And it's called, do you know the Whiffam song? And people say, the Whiffam song? What's the Whiffam song? And it's actually the chorus. The Whiffam song, the chorus is, what's in it for me? And what we don't know, don't see, because it's all in the back here, is that we sing it all the time. All the time, awake and asleep. What's in it for me? You get up, you put your pants on, you face the front, you walk out the door, you go back in and get the keys to the car. Massive eye roll. And you every single decision you make The underlying statement, the underlying drive is what's in it for me. And most of the time, what's in it for me is pleasing them. What's in it for me is it's expected of me. So I'm showing up and I'm doing the thing. It's an obligation, it's a duty, it's a guilt-ridden shame blame game. Charming. Does it come in blue? We stop realizing that if we're not loving it, we're not going to do it with the passion we feel when we do love something, when it really is our thing, right? So change, I always say, is, change is really simple. Things change all the time. When you get up in the morning and you get in the car, you don't want to be driving into the sunrise, right? But if you same direction 2 hours later, you're not squinting. Why? The sun has changed. Its place. Actually, the earth has changed its thing. And so the sun is not here now. It's there and we're good. What changed? Stuff. If, we loved a high school jacket, star of the something team. We find it in the closet and they say, oh yeah, and we put it on and somehow it shrank. How is that possible? Okay, so I'm going to try and wear it. What can I do? Maybe I can take it to the tailor and they can put in some inserts or something. Or I could maybe do a diet thing, work out, lose weight. What's in it for me? Pride? Memories? Nostalgia? Is it big enough? Is the joy of the nostalgia and the warm, fuzzy, fabulous enough to say, okay, maybe I won't have ice cream tonight? Okay, then that's what's in it for you. And I think that we forget this. We forget that we don't have to do everything because somebody else says so. We have to find the internal hell yeah, even if it is somebody who says so. Susan has struggled with Susan has succeeded in raising 3 young boys into young men, and none of them wanted to get up in the morning. Why? Well, they couldn't see any point. Why does school have to start at that time? And believe me, I asked those questions when I did morning drive radio. I comprehended the idea that morning meant morning, and I comprehended the idea that you got paid more if you were willing to get up at 3 o'clock every day. I just didn't see the value for me because so I did it for as long as I could stand it. And then I said, what, I can't do it. It just doesn't float my boat. And this is what people can't see. And that's what I want to talk about today. What I want to talk about today is that we always have choice. We always have the power to choose. What we don't understand is what the options are and why. So that's what we're going to do. Are you with me? Okay. I always say that change is difficult when we didn't think of it. When it's our idea in the middle of the night to dye our hair green and get a rose tattoo on the end of our nose. That was easy. It's less easy for other people to accept it, especially the thing. It's less easy for them. Why? Because element of surprise. And it's unsettling. 1 minute you were a redhead and now you have green hair. And what were you thinking? It's just hair, dye'll fade out. I could re-dye it. I mean, it's not a thing. Yeah, but you maybe for the sake of your friend's sanity, you might want to mention ahead to them that you're thinking of doing something fairly drastic and they should maybe get ready. So if change is easy, if it's our idea, then so is choosing. It's easy because it's something we want. Stand in front of the fridge with the door open saying, this or this? Close the door. This or this? Open the door again. This or this? Whatever we choose is ours to own. It's ours. We decided, you know what, I'll do that tomorrow and I'll do this today. When somebody says you have to have more of this, okay, we don't want it. They're right. Yes, it's good for us. Yes, it's a good balance, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Do we like it? No. Do we do it? Yes. Do we do it with vim and vigor and joy? No, because it's forced upon us. It's the right thing to do. Correct? All right. So if we are in a state of high functioning freeze, none of this conversation is even remotely triggering in a good way. Yeah, that's a good idea, Abby. No, when you're in high functioning freeze, you're sitting there saying, oh, I can't believe I got up and got coffee and I'm watching this video. You got to love what you do to keep the passion for your work. You're absolutely right, Freddie. If you don't love it, it's a job. If you don't, if it doesn't float your boat, it's a chore. So when you're in a state of, I gave it my best, and then I gave some more, and now I got nothing left, and I still have to get up this morning. I still have to make the sandwich, the lunch, the whatever. My mother heard me one day say that I liked peanut butter sandwiches. And I came home from school one day and I said, Mom, could we maybe not make me any more peanut butter sandwiches for lunch? Well, I thought you liked them, dear. Yeah, well, I did, but it's been 2 years now. And I kind of would really like to have, oh, well, why didn't you say something? I didn't want to hurt your feelings. Because my mother had insomnia, and she would wake up in the night and she would paint and she would do things. And then she would think, oh, abs lunch. Sandwich, done, back to bed, thud. And she was on autopilot. She was in high functioning freeze a lot of the time. And you don't realize it in other people. You don't, because they just seem to have slowed down. High functioning freeze is essentially walking through molasses. It's this, right? You hear somebody sighing like that. They're in a state of high functioning freeze right now. Those sighs are the signs. And it's not that they need a pep talk. Good God, they don't need a pep talk. What they need is no talk. A pillow, a blanket, some hot chocolate or a soda, a cookie, and the remote. And say, you know what? You need a break. Do this. I'll come and get you later. Everybody needs that. Everybody can sense that. But we have to get out of our own way in order to realize that. And so instead, because we're too, we just keep slogging. We just keep moving slower and slower and slower. And this is why we see people in the grocery store wearing their pajamas. They looked at themselves and they said, well, I need food but I don't have the energy to get dressed. And anyway, who will see me? It's the grocery store. And that was you for so long. Yes, get up, drive the boys, go back to bed, up, get the boy. Yeah, I know. It becomes a pattern that we're on autopilot, and we kind of know it, but not really. We're literally going through the motions, high functioning freeze. And then if you have any really large trauma thing happen to you, an accident, a moving, my God, they say that losing a job, divorce, death, moving, there's 5, something, are the greatest stressors. And so military kid, move every 15 minutes, right? Say goodbye, feels like abandonment, feels like loss, feels like aloneness every 15 minutes. That becomes, I guess that's what life is, because we don't know any different. We're not aware that we are living in that state of managing stress. We just keep pushing forward until we fall down, and then hopefully get back up. after we've had a rest. So if we are there, if we are really, you look down and you realize you're wearing mismatching slippers, naming no names here, greeting somebody important. Person looked down at me and said, "What do you have on your feet?" And I looked down at my feet and this is the other thing that military kids get good at. And I said, "Oh, it's the latest thing. They love it in New York." The trick is A, remember to say it. But the second thing, the very big trick, the follow through is don't laugh at yourself. Oh, they love it in New York. It's the latest thing. And then leave. Just say, "Oh, gosh, look at the time." So I high functioning freeze? Yes, sure. A lot of the time. A lot of the time. And every so often you look at yourself in the mirror and you think, what happened? What's going on? I mean, I can see me, and I'm in focus. I just don't seem to be there. I don't feel like I'm here. So it gets easier and easier to go through the motions and to say yes to the things that people say. Why don't you need to come with us? Okay, it's easier to say yes. Easier. Do you want to go? You maybe call later and say, listen, I can't, I've changed my mind. But say yes in the moment. Why? Because, least resistance. And then you go home and dread the idea because you just can't. I mean, I can't. All right. So in the midst of this sensation of somebody says, you have to do more to be more. You have to try harder. Just say no. Just do it. What is wrong with you? Do you need help? And you don't even have the energy to say, I need you to go away. I need you to just stop. I need you to leave me alone. I need to think. I need to breathe because I'm in high functioning freeze. So sadly, staying there doesn't get better. You just stay and gradually you grow mold. So the solution is this, and it's kind of, well, it's silly simple. It's a simple win theory. Door number one is do more, be more, buy in, show up. Door number two is no. Door number two is this is my comfort zone. Even as the comfort zone is getting smaller and smaller and it's becoming your discomfort zone, door number two feels easier. It's easier to say no because they go away. The thing is, no doesn't get you anywhere. Change is only painful when we resist. Change is only hard when we stand fast. If there's nobody driving on the road, it's easy to stand on the yellow line. It's easy to walk on the yellow line if there's nobody there. At rush hour, it's dangerous. We are forced into making choices. And we don't want to. And so we make them grudgingly. We make them reluctantly. Even when somebody points out to us, you realize that that's dangerous and remarkably dumb. Oh, I know. It's just that trying to find, if I'm up to here in manure, there's got to be a pony in here with me, and I can ride the pony out of here. There's no pony. So then how do we make something work for us? And the remarkably simple win is that there is always door number three. Always. Do or no do. There is no try. Okay. However, there is door number 3. Do, no do. How about do it for me? How about choose me? How about choose me? So here's the question. Here's the question. If I had a chance, if I had a chance to choose me, if do the thing, don't do the thing, stay stuck, do it this way, do what we offered, sign up, show up, man up, Viking up. What if there's door number 3? I saw something amazing the other day. And I said, I'm going to find a way to say that so everybody hears it. Imagine walking into a room, knowing that in that room, there would be everyone you've ever known. Imagine that. There's the door. It's open. And inside, on the other side, there's everyone you've ever known. Here's the question. Ready? Who would you be looking for first? I know, right? I know. I read that and I thought, I'm going to need some time. So the same question, slightly altered, applies. We have choice. We don't have instructions. Here's the instructions. If door number 1 doesn't suit you, and door number 2 doesn't apply, door number 3, what's in it for me? If you knew that everything you ever wanted was on the other side of the door, what would you choose first? What's in it for me? You need to show up. You need to do more. You need to be more. Really? I don't want to be more. I'm exhausted. All right, then just stay home. Stay under the bed. Live your life. Don't blame me. I don't want to do that either. Okay. Then what does feel right? What does resonate with you? What does make you say, okay, this feels exciting? That shift in turning this diamond that is us, that shift in saying, you know what? The first thing I want to choose is something that excites me. Is something, and you know, if you say to yourself, I don't want to go to the mall and I don't really want to stay home. Well, what do I want to do? If I know I want to leave the house, what do I want to do? Do I want to see people? Kind of. I don't want to go to a mall though. All right. Where else could you find people? You could maybe go for a coffee. Yeah, I know. Well, why don't you stroll on the street and just maybe is there an area in town where there's little shops and you could just stroll on the street? Window shop. People come toward you. Hi. There's so many options. You don't like people? Okay. Go where there aren't any. Go to a library. Go for a walk by yourself. Stay home. Put your feet up. Put on the music you like. Choose me. Why? It's like a tonic, you know? It's like a hug. I matter. I'm first. And when I've given myself that hug that I need and the rest that I need, I'll be ready for door number 1, and I won't need door number 2. But I'm not going to do more and be more to please you. I'm not going to do more and be more to fit in. I saw another thing the other day that made me kind of blink. And it was some psychologist who said, Here's the thing people don't realize. The opposite of belonging is fitting in. Belonging feels like you belong. Fitting in feels like you're trying to be accepted. We don't have to be accepted by anyone. We already are accepted. We came in accepted. I have the pleasure of knowing a bunch of people who were known for things, famous in certain ways. And when that arc of their character, I'm not going to say faded, but came to its end, the next chapter they chose wasn't famous. It was something else, something smaller, something more manageable. And they loved it because the public arc that they had been in, that still was stuff they loved to do, had become a little unmanageable. They weren't, we get to a place where we feel we're not really doing it for us anymore. There are expectations on us. Susan was just saying, I've got to get the boys to school. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. I've got to do the other. And there was no time for me. People who are talking about empty nest syndrome. You've built your whole life around being the leader of the pack, the head of the crew. Okay. Well, when the crew moves on, what happens to you? If, on the other hand, you spend your whole life balancing you and the things you do, then when times and things change, you still got you. You're still there. And you don't have to do as much for those people. I was talking to a friend of mine and I said, it's an anniversary last week. It was a year ago that I saw this apartment for the first time. It was a year ago after a terrible, terrible, terrible struggle. And when I saw this apartment, I said, oh, look, this is my home. How about that? And I've told a lot of people that I have never really felt that way about a place because military kid, every home is actually just a temporary posting. This really feels like home to me. I saw it a year ago. I signed the lease a year ago tomorrow. And I moved in April, 2 days before my birthday. The packers and the movers said, what is it you want to do? I said, I want to sleep in my own bed in my new home the night before and wake up in my new place on my birthday. And together we made it happen. Because after doing more, to be more, to get everybody where they needed to go, to do the Susan routine, get up, go, do, come back, fall down, get up, go, do, fall down. It was my turn. And I said, well, if I have to move, if there's somewhere I need to be, this time I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it because it's my turn. And this is what I think we forget when we talk about choice, when we talk about choose, and when we talk about change. Change is scary because it's on unfamiliar ground. And we don't know if we're going to like it. And we see ourselves as going through a lot of trouble and a lot of steps to get someplace. And what if I don't like it? And wouldn't it just be easier to stay where I am? It's not that bad, really. And my conversation with all of you, with myself, is, yeah, but at some point you wake up and it's not that bad all by itself. You know it's not good enough. You know that you deserve more, better, yours. You know it. And then it's just a matter of time and momentum and timing, trajectory, opportunity. And it's exhausting. I have, as I said, friends who have enjoyed success, who have been in the public eye, who have had people call their name, scream their name, "Can I have your autograph?" And it doesn't happen anymore because they don't do that anymore. Do they feel lost a little bit? Do they feel, "Oh, well, I guess I'm getting old, I guess this." No, no, it's a different chapter. When I stopped doing shows and I started writing other people's stuff, I was building their magic kingdoms for them, with them. I was giving them the keys to their opportunities. I was showing them how the door works, how the three doors work. I've always said, people always talk about you work on your business and in your business. You work on your business in building it, you work in your business doing it and running it. There's a third. There's always a door number three, right? The third is you work at your business. At your business is stepping back and saying, yeah, I think now we need to just do this a little bit. I think we need to pull back and keep that going, but really we want to go this way. That's a strategic rebrand. That's a pivotal moment. It's showing a different facet of what is possible. Leaning into what can happen. And when we I'm just going to scroll this down because I think somebody has said something to me. And when you realize that you've limited yourself, you can waste a lot of energy and effort beating yourself up for it. Well, why didn't I think of that? And it needs to stop because that you can't see the forest for the trees. So if you're the tree, and by the way, we are all the tree. If I'm the tree and I'm standing here, how the hell can I see the forest? I can only see this part of it. I can't turn my head. Trees are not good at that, but I can see there's trees here. It may not occur to me there might be trees behind me. It takes someone over there to say, there's trees behind you. Really? Oh, are they cute? It takes a second set of eyes and a second pair of hands to give us all the tools we need, the power we need, the perspective we need, the debate, the mentoring, the discussion, the what ifs. Imagine this. What would that be like? What if I walked like that? What if I wore this? What if people saw me that way? How would I feel about that? You need to have that as a conversation. And that's why I've started this project. That's what Pivotry in Motion is about. It's about getting in touch with the reason we came and figuring out how we want to reset, how we want to refresh, where it is we want to be now, 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 years in. In the beginning, we have a goal. When we reach that goal, it's not the end of the story. It's not happily ever after. That goal becomes a benchmark. My goal is this. Okay, now I'm here. Now what? Well, it doesn't mean the story's over. It means that we've reached this point. What are we looking at now? What can we do now with this? The temptation is to scurry back, go back to what was familiar. Well, but you did all this work. You have something that you can rely on and lean on. You have all of these assets, all of this value. You are bigger and smarter and brighter than you were. You have grown. You've changed. So let's make a list of the things you don't want to do. What's in it for you? What would you really like? And somewhere along the way in that discussion, happened with Susan just the other day. In 5 years, I don't see myself doing that anymore. Brilliant. What are we going to do instead? I don't know. All right. Well, it's good to know. Let's write it down, put it over there. Meanwhile, we have to do this. And all of a sudden, somewhere along the way in the conversations and the resetting and the re-examining, and what if we do this and what if we say that, all of a sudden, oh, oh, this is what I can be doing in 5 years. Oh, all excited. Are we doing more? No. Are we being more? No. Are we pushing? No. We're choosing us. We're saying, what's in it for me? What's going to be in it for me? And I want to tell you a story. So I'm selling the house. I'm selling the estate house. It's in another town. And we have a lovely realtor who's looking after us. And when I say us, I mean Dave's son. And we got an offer. And the offer was remarkably insulting. It was insulting with liver and lima beans on top, is how insulting the offer was. What? And then the follow-up that our wonderful agent shared was what the other agent said in making the offer. So vastly insulting offer. And then the other agent said, they're a really young couple and they're so excited. They have this opportunity. Your place, this house is just up the road from his dad. And it's such a great neighborhood. And they just sold their condo successfully. And they're just so excited. And I said, I said to my agent, well, try to imagine how little I care, how they feel about this. Maybe stop hugging yourselves at the opportunity when you've just hit me in the face with a recently thawed fish. I'm a people too. And if it dawns on you that the sale of an estate is what follows a tragic loss, maybe think about that for a second before you insult me. And my agent, when I was talking to my agent and I said, they don't have any idea who I am or what I am like. And she said, no. And I said, yes, probably just as well. And I said, when somebody tells me that they're so excited and they're so happy and it's such a convenient and such a wonderful space and it's this and that, and we just sold and we've got money and we can do this, those would be reasons for me to charge them more. Those would not be reasons for me to say, oh, okay, yes, of course, I'll just give you the place. Of course, I'll just, why does it always have to be about me when clearly you think it's all about you? And she started to laugh. She was on the other end of the phone. She started to laugh and she said, yeah, I almost want you to meet their agent. I said, I think that what you can probably do when you go back with a counter offer. And she said, what kind of a counter offer? And I'm grinning on the phone and she can hear me grinning as I'm talking. And she said, oh, okay. And I said, when you go back with a counter offer, I think if you would not mind, mention to the agent and to all the agents that you're coming in contact with is that we are motivated. We're not desperate. And we don't really have the time or the inclination to listen to your backstory because we are busy rewriting ours. And she said, oh, good line. And I said, well, own it in good faith, fly and be free. What on earth would possess people If they're so keen to be near a dad and they realize that someone has lost a dad, of course, it's not them, it's the agent. It's an estate. They're motivated. We can get them. It's cheap. They'll be probably desperate to go, thank you. Charming. Thanks for stopping by. No parting gift for you. So in this functioning freeze, high functioning freeze state, which is what I am sure a lot of this is, our focus narrows, right? We can't take in all of the bells and the whistles and the things going on. It's too much of a muchness. So we narrow in on the essentials, the absolute musts. Got to put pants on if I leave the house. Absolute musts. And so we don't have room and we don't have time for empathy, and we don't have room and we don't have energy for curiosity. We're doing the best we can to just get through. And it's not our fault. It's just the place we've come to. So how do we fix it? The fix is this. It's door number 3, choose me. When you look at things and you know that you have to make a choice, change is inevitable. You must choose. Choosing the opt-out only hurts you. And it begins to hurt you very, very quickly. We don't see it. We don't notice that our eyes are closed. We're exhausted. But all of a sudden, that comfort zone is getting a little, tight. We're not happy. We're sighing a lot. And happy is supposed to be the point. So how do we fix it? What is my simple win strategy for this, for the high functioning freeze state? The high functioning freeze state is step 1, choose me. Step 2, breathe. Do the 5-finger breathing exercise. For those of you who have just joined and haven't seen this before, the 5-finger 30-second breathe exercise is designed. You just take your index finger and just, not fast, not slow, trace the outsides of your 5 fingers all the way to the heel of your thumb, and then go back. Do it again. Feel what it's kind of a tingly, calm, pleasant feeling. And then do the other one with the other finger. Start on the outside, right? Go all the way along. You don't need to go to school for this. You don't need any expensive equipment or memberships. You just do this. You get to the end. Oh, well, that's different. Everything has kind of gone, ooh, right? So instead of door number 1, do more, be more. Door number 2, do nothing. Stay under the bed. Door number 3, choose me. If the door is there and it's open, all the things I've ever wanted are on the inside. What's the one I have the energy to choose now? I'm not giving up all the others, but the one I choose now. Is it pajamas? Is it ice cream? Is it a bowl of fruit? Is it a warm blanket? Is it a phone call with a friend who makes you laugh? Choose me. Choose me. Enjoy it. Once you make the choice, do that and then get started. Give yourself permission to say, all right, we're good. As Susan and I discussed long ago, this is mine right now, right here today. Do that. Then take another look at do more and say, you know what? I'll do something. I'm not doing more. I'll do this, and I'll do it in blue or green or orange. And I'll do it for me. I'll do it for me, not for your expectation, not to fit in, not to show up. I'll do it for me. And once I feel, okay, then, all right, I might consider doing it for you if you're lucky. How does that sound? Feels a little bit more like ownership. It feels a little more bite-sized, solvable, doable, likable, right? It feels like we got this. We can do this. Just do it at your pace. For you. Door number 3 is me. Fascinating, isn't it? Okay, that's it for today. I think it's a lot to think about. It's a lot to unpack. I'm really, really happy that you joined me. I know that the week of the Irish is upon us. And so if any of you have any of that Irishness going on, start preparing for the fallout is all I can say. And in the meantime, I will see you on Thursday. I have another very cool thing to talk about that is, I think we're going to enjoy it. I think we're going to have fun walking through it together. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm, busy working on stuff. I've got 2 or 3 little things juggling that I'm enjoying. And it's important. It makes me fill my days and makes me smile. So thank you for being part of this. Thank you for thinking, you know what? I deserve this time with Abby. And I'm going to seize it and run like the wind. And I'm glad you do. And I'm glad you did. And I'm very glad you will. So until next time, you know the drill. And if you don't, I'm going to teach it to you. Be good to you because you deserve it. And remember to hug your loved ones because they deserve it too. Okay. Thanks for watching.